I don't know what to do. I kind of want a green tea, but I've just had a coffee and it's warm in here. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So before I start the video, I just want to say a huge thank you for helping me reach 100 subscribers. I can't believe there is 100 of you out there that actually want to sit and listen to me talk about random stuff. I don't actually have a goal for YouTube, it's just sort of like something for me to look back on and to have fun with. So I just want to thank you all so much for subscribing to me. So today's video is something a little bit different, and at the moment I'm just trying out loads of different videos and seeing which ones I really enjoy filming. So today I'm going to be trying out a story time, and if you don't know what a story time is, which most of you probably will, you are basically going to be sat here for the next 5 or 10 minutes listening to me tell a story about something that's happened in my life. And as you can tell by the title, me and Matthew got smuggled into a different country. So for those who have seen my earlier videos, then you guys will know that I'm on a gap year, and if you're new to me, then I'm on a gap year. And gap years can be used for anything. They can be used for work, they can be used for travel, they can be used to gain more experience for something that you might need to get into university. It can be used for anything. But me and Matthew decided to come travelling on our gap year, and the first half of my gap year has kind of been pushed aside because I didn't start my YouTube channel until we came over to Australia. So for the early part of my gap year, me and Matthew went backpacking around Europe, and we bought an Interrail pass and we just got trains to loads of different countries over the course of 2 months. Unfortunately, the time that we decided to go was also the time that the refugee crisis was happening, and this crisis had really only just started. It started about 2 weeks before we actually set off, and there still wasn't things in place for all of these refugees, and train stations were being blocked, trains were being packed, all that stuff. So anyway, we still went along on our journey. We kind of braved this crisis and decided that it was alright. To be honest, by the time that we actually did go, because it started like 2 weeks before, it kind of calmed down. Like, things weren't okay, but like train stations were opening up again and like all that sort of stuff. So we thought by the time we get to like the problem area, everything should be like okay, things should be in place, yada yada yada. So we went maybe 2 or 3 weeks with no problems at all. We could get on trains, we could get into different countries without any issues. We had one type of issue, not it wasn't really an issue, but it was kind of like a blip when we were going to Copenhagen. But basically the police came onto the train, asked to see our passports, and then the train set off again. So we didn't think anything of it. And then we got to Budapest. So we've gained an Edison in this talk. He's just below me, so if you can hear him talking or anything, then it's just Edison. So anyway, as I was saying, we got to Budapest, which was our problem area. And Budapest train station had been shut down completely. There was no trains leaving from that train station about 2 weeks before we went away, right at the very beginning of the crisis. And just as we came away, just as we had gone, the train station opened back up again. So we didn't really think anything of it. We were like, great, the train station's open again, we can still go that way, everything's cool, everything's groovy, something's being put in place. We got to Budapest, a-okay, absolutely no problems, it was all fine. And then we went to leave Budapest. Now, that was a little bit trickier. We were trying to get from Budapest to Croatia. Now, we didn't realise that was going to be an issue. We had been keeping up with the news and everything, and we were pretty much up to date with what was happening during this crisis, but nothing had really been said about Croatia and Hungary, and I think Austria was in there, and all them all the countries around that area. Nothing had been said to give us a hint as to what was happening. So anyway, we go to leave Budapest, we booked our hostel for Croatia, and we get to the train station and we can't find our train. We can't find anything really. We can't find any information on the train or anything, and we like start to panic. So we start asking around. We ask the staff in the train station, and we ask like just people, randomers, like anyone, whether they can show us or tell us what's happened to this train that we were meant to be getting on. And no one knew anything about it. No one could tell us anything about this train. Like, they couldn't understand why it wasn't on the board. They couldn't understand like why no one knew anything about it. So we had the Interrail app, and that told us the train times, the stops that the train was going to be doing, and it told us the train number. The fact that we looked at this app like saved our lives in this situation, because it showed us the train number and it also showed us the stops. So we looked for the train number on the board and then on the app, and then looked at the stops and saw like our train, and we put 2 and 2 together, but we got like 6. So we got on the correct train and it was going in the correct direction, but it hadn't really clicked in our heads that the reason why it didn't have Zagreb on the board was because it wasn't going to Zagreb. So we're on this train for maybe like an hour and a half. It's meant to take us like maybe 2 to 3 hours to get to the stop in Croatia where we needed to change. And we were on here for about an hour and a half, as I said. And then the train conductor comes around and looks at our ticket, and with an Interrail ticket you have like a section at the bottom where you have to fill out yourself. So you fill out what date you're travelling, where you're travelling from, and where you want to travel to, and then they normally just like stamp it and then everything's okay. But the train conductor looked at our ticket, stamped it, went away, and then came back and he was like, "You guys want to go to Zagreb?" And we were like, "Yeah, like that's where we're going, it said in our ticket." And he's like, "Yep, this train isn't going to Zagreb, this train is going to the border of Hungary and Croatia." And then it stops. That's it, that's the final stop. It's not going any further, the border is closed. And we just kind of looked at each other and we were like, what? So not only had we left Budapest, where we could have easily gone back to a hostel and stayed a night, we had gotten to a train that wasn't going to the correct place, and it was going to stop at the border, which is pretty much in the middle of nowhere, which probably had nowhere for us to stay. So the train conductor went away and left us in a panic amongst ourselves, and then he came back and said, "I can get you to Croatia, I will order you a taxi. It will come pick you up at the border and take you across into Croatia, and it'll drop you off at the first train station in Croatia, and then you're on your own from there." So we were like, yes, that's cool, that's absolutely amazing. We really need to get into Croatia, our hostel's booked, we have nowhere to stay tonight if we can't get in there. Like, that's absolutely fabulous, thank you so much for your help. So we rang this guy, this taxi man, and said to him, how much can you do it for, and this is where they want to go from, and to, can you do it? And then he was like, yep, that's fine, you've got a taxi waiting for you at this stop. It was like a couple before the border, and he's going to take you into Croatia. So we were like, that's absolutely amazing, thank you so much. And so we got to this stop that we were getting off at. The train conductor came and told us that it was time to get off. Got off the train, we met this taxi driver and started walking towards the taxi. It didn't take us very long to realise that this taxi driver was not a taxi driver at all. The conclusion that we came to was that he was the train conductor's friend looking for a little bit of extra money. And this is where it started to get a little bit worrying and a little bit dangerous. So we were walking a little bit further behind this taxi driver and we were talking amongst ourselves, and we were saying like, this is ridiculously dangerous, this man could be anyone, he could kill us, he could kidnap us, sell us on as slaves, like anything. Like, you've heard the horror stories, so there was so many things going through our minds when we were walking behind this guy. But he was our way into Croatia if our risk had paid off. So we just continued on walking behind this guy into his taxi, which was just an old car. We don't even know whether it was his, it could have been stolen, it could have been anything. Like, we don't know, we didn't ask questions. And we were sat in the back of this guy's car for like an hour and a half. And we were just going down country roads. We had no idea where we were. There was no signal on mobile phones. It was like the perfect place to kill someone, and me and Matthew were just sat there like absolutely crapping ourselves. Matthew was in like the fight or flight mode and he was like ready to pounce if anything had happened, and I was just sat there like thinking of my life and how great it had been, and thinking how like my dad and my brother were gonna get told and all that stuff. Like I was legit ready to die. So this taxi driver couldn't speak a word of English, so it was just a silent car. We were just all sat in this silent car for about an hour and a half, and then we came to the border. So we get to the border, we show our passports to the border people, and then this guy takes us to the first train station in Croatia, and then we went on our own from there, which is what the train conductor had said. And it worked out all fine, and we got to our hostel before it closed, like before the reception closed, and it only cost us like 50 euros to do that. And that's where like the joke of smuggling comes in. We didn't actually get smuggled, like obviously it was all official, the border people knew we were going across, and they seen our passports, but we joke about us being smuggled because of the situation we were in, like the dangerous situation that we had no idea where we were going, who was taking us, all that stuff, and the fact that it was just some guy's car who was trying to pass himself off as a taxi. It's kind of like a smuggling. So that's it, that's my story. I really hope you've enjoyed this different type of video. If you have, then please make sure to give it a big thumbs up, and also leave a comment down below letting me know if you did or not, because then I can start thinking about doing some more, or knowing that no one enjoyed it. Obviously don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. It's red, it's very easy to see, and I'd love for more people to come back and join the party. The more the merrier. I'd like to thank you again for helping me reach 100 subscribers, and I'd like to thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in my next one. Bye!